All right, let's go ahead and get started. So, first of all, hello. I'm so glad that you're here with me, whether you're live with me as we're crafting along today, or if you're going to watch later on the replay. So, my name is Wendy Lee, and you can find me at CreativeLeeYours.com. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the US. So, that's where I'm at. That's who I am, if you don't already know that. Today, we are going to create three coordinating projects using what I think is very beautiful, the Nature Walk Suite. So these were originally designed as my team make and take projects for this month, and I love that I get to share them with you now. So this is going to be relaxed, beginner friendly, and very doable. Okay. So as we go, I'll share a few techniques and ideas with you that you can reuse with the products that you already own, right? We want you to pull stuff off your crafty shelf and use it, right? If something does catch your eye, I'll explain the workshop order special towards the end, so you can take advantage of that if you'd like. So let me do a quick peek of the project so you can see what we're making. This one here. And of course, you're going to see I'm up close as we go along. So we're going to progressively get into a little more technique as we go. All right, are you guys ready to switch the camera over and start our crafty fun? Let's do it. Oh, I did the wrong button. I turned it off. Try again. Now let's see if my camera is going to cooperate with me today. Sometimes it does, sometimes it does not. Right? All right. So let me turn on some lights, camera action here, so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. Let me move some stuff over. All right. Yeah, okay. I can see my desktop, which is a good thing, right? All right. So as I mentioned, we are featuring some products from the Nature Walk. Let's turn on a mic. That might help too. All right, let's see if that works better. Okay. We are featuring some products from the Nature Walk suite. So this is one of the suites in our mini catalog, and I love it. It's funny because when I first saw the suite, I really liked it. But the more I use it, the more I love it, right? So this is the stamp set, Nature's Symphony, and then the coordinating dies, which are also Nature's Symphony. Don't you love that Stampin' Up! Changed that and made the names the same in the stamp set and dies? I'm so glad. I love this. It's versatile. Who does it? Leafy images, always easy to use. Love a little texture in there, and then some good sentiments. Um, we're pretty much going to use this one sentiment. You make me smile, because I just wanted happy cards. So today's projects are really lend themselves nicely to guys or gals, right? Like anyone on your list. So I'll lay them out again real quick. Now, these are a subset of my team make and take. So on Tuesday, I shared this lovely vellum card. So this was the fourth project. So my team make and takes, we do a full class every single month. And I love that. It's a lot of fun. We get to play with good stuff. And yeah, I just really enjoy it. So as we work along, I will give you the measurements that I am using. But if you want the PDF tutorial, like the written instructions, that's part of the order special, and we'll talk about that here in just a moment. Okay, let's do our first project, which is this one right here. Okay, and I'm starting off with a thick basic weight card base. This is 5.5 by 8.5, and I'm just going to fold this in half and give that a good burnishing. All right, let's make sure I can see comments from you guys. Hopefully. I will go back after the video and make sure that I answer any questions that you're leaving me, okay? All right, so I've got a piece of designer series paper. This is 4 3/4 by 3.5. A piece of basic beige cardstock, which is 5 by 3 3/4. And I'm going to adhere these together. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit, changing things up a little bit. I'm just going to go a little bit rogue, I think. So I love the prints in this paper pack, and you can use whatever side. That's really nice. It's dark, but I do really like the texture in that. But I like this, but if you wanted to add a little bit more texture, you could pull in this lovely image here. So I'm going to pull in my blueberry bushel. And of course, what did I do? I left my chamois in the other room. at the sink. So I'm going to change this up a little bit today, and I'm going to add a little bit of this texture onto my layer. And so I'm stamping in blueberry bushel ink right on to that designer series paper. Do you guys stamp on your designer papers to change them up a little bit? To me, it is one of the best ways to have your paper coordinate how you want your paper to coordinate, right? Like if you wanted to introduce another color or fill in an area that you thought was maybe a little too light, whatever your choice is. We get to decide what we want to do there. So I'm just going to wipe some of that away, clean up with the chamois at the end of the day. All right, so now I'm going to go and adhere these two pieces together. I'm a stamp and seal kind of gal, so that's what I'm going to use. If you don't like stamp and seal, use what you like. Now, because I wanted these to lend friendly for the guys, I did a little wider borders. So I did these 1/8" borders versus my favorite, which is the 16th or skinny borders, right? That is my preference. I like a skinny border all day long, but I wanted this to feel a little more guy friendly. So I went a little wider in the borders than I would typically do. Now I'm pulling in this fantastic gold, and I think it's gold and white ribbon is what it's called. I may not have the exact name, and I apologize for that if it's wrong. It's in the supply list that is posted in this group, and I did put it in featured just a little bit ago. Oh, you know what? That's what I should do with this video is go ahead and pin it to featured. Now you can see, did I measure that? No, I just laid it down. It's about 6.5-ish inches, right? And I'm going to do what I like to call cheater ribbon. I'm just going to wrap my ends to the back. And I'm saving a lot of ribbon when I do this because I make a lot of cards. I don't know about you guys, but I do. I make a ton of cards. If you've ordered from me before, you know I make a ton of cards because I send you one every time you order. All right. So this saved me this much ribbon, which you're like, oh, so what? Well, it makes a big difference, right? When you're crafting a lot. So I love that. So I think that's great. Do a little cheater there. Now let's grab, I'm going to grab some Stampin' Dimensionals. I like things popped up. If you don't want yours popped up, don't pop up the layer. You don't have to do it. I'm going to do 2 layers of pop up. And if that's too much for you, don't do it. And I'm going to go excessive on my dimensionals. I put 6 on there. I'm going rogue. Going rogue. And this is so easy. You could do this with any designer series paper. And I love pulling products from the suites because everything coordinates so well. I don't have to think about it. It helps me choose my colors. It helps me choose my ribbons and embellishments if they're in there. Now, of course, I mix and match, right, with other things as well. Like you can use any products you have in your crafty stash and mix and match. So there's that benefit as well. But I love it. I just love it. And I'm a huge, huge fan. All right, next. Now, these projects, my whole thing with these projects was I wanted to pull in some vellum elements. And you saw that first card that I actually shared in my live on this week on Tuesday. So it's on my website. You can go grab it, the project list. You can grab the video and watch it, whatever makes your heart happy. And we made a full vellum card base. So today we're going to do some vellum elements. And we're going to talk a little bit about adhering vellum. Yeah, that can be a sticky situation, right? So I have a piece of vellum that I've die cut with the smallest, this label here on these branching out dies. Love them, love them, love them, love them. And I'm going to adhere this right here, but I'm going to slide it under my ribbon. Okay, so I could have put it on first and then wrap the ribbon, but I didn't. So I know that I'm going to cover towards the bottom of this. So I'm just going to put a little adhesive in the center there. Because look at that, the ribbon covers part of it, of where I put my adhesive. And of course I can shift this as need be. And then when I push this down, look at that. Can you see that you can see your adhesive through the vellum? Yeah, you don't like that. That's not good. But we can easily place elements over the top of the adhesive or place our adhesive behind our elements, even better, to get the results that we want. So let's slide this over. I'm going to grab my piece of basic weight cardstock. So this is approximately 3x2. It's a scrap from my bin. And I'm going to punch it out with the modern oval punch. So our punches, if you're not familiar, unlock, it expands this, and then I like to use them upside down. You could stamp first, but because I'm using a photopolymer stamp, I don't really need to. So I'm just going to put it in there, lightly squeeze so it doesn't move on me, and then fully squeeze to punch it out. Okay? Nice. And then when I'm done, I'm just going to squeeze that close and lock that back, and it's ready for my shelf. Image on the top, image on the side. So easy storage. Easy storage. And I love these. The other thing I love about these is that the days that my arthritis is acting up, I can literally lay the punch down, put the paper in, and lean on it. So I don't even have to squeeze with my hands if that's a problem, right? If that's bothering me that day. Now, I am going to pull in my Balmy Blue ink pad for, actually, you know what? I shouldn't do the Balmy Blue first. Let's do our sentiment first, because that may make a difference in where I want my leaf to be placed. So I'm bringing back in Blueberry Bushel and the stamp Sentiment, You Make Me Smile, which we're going to use on all 3 cards because that's what my mood was. So I'm going to stamp this, and you know what? I think I'm going to offset it to the right, just a smidge, to leave me a little extra space for that leafy image on the side. Okay? And as I'm going along, I am going to clean my stamp because I'm reusing it in 3 different ink colors. So my personal preference is my chamois, or not my chamois, my Scrub and Mist. So I've got the Stamp and Mist, comes in a nice big bottle. You just spray one side of your scrub, scrub it off. You don't need a hard hand, just lightly scrub it, takes all the ink off, and then I can dry it on the other side. And it's clean and ready for my next color. Yay. I like it. And then I don't have wet stuff sitting on my table. I do use the chamois as well, but I prefer the scrub and mist. I'm old school. I've been stamping for a really long time. Do you guys have a preference? Are you guys scrub and mist? Are you chamois? Baby wipe even? I hate baby wipes, but that's a whole nother conversation we could have. All right, so I'm going to stamp this leafy image in the corner. How cute is that? Nice to bring in that balmy blue. And let's wipe off our mess here so that we don't get blue ink everywhere. That's when I would use a chamois. Now, while I've got this out, I think I want to put this on the inside. So you can see I brought my design to the inside just subtly. I didn't add a bunch of layers. This is a fast, easy. This is a card project that you could literally make a bunch of them and leave the sentiments off. And then just add your sentiment as you need them so that you know what you want to use it for, right? Which I think is very nice. Very nice. Okay, so our inside is already done. I could add a sentiment, but I'm not going to. I don't need to. All right, let's pop this up with some dimensionals. Again, if you don't want yours popped up, don't pop it up. Right? Are you team dimensional or team not? I say not because you could use so many different glues if you're doing it flat. Yeah, you use the chamois and the scrub. Yeah, I'm saying I do use it. I just prefer the scrub. All right, so I'm offsetting this down. I think that's kind of fun. I love crossing my layers. It kind of gives it a different feel, different vibe. And then I've got this little scrap that was at the end of the roll. Do you guys use these little pieces? You pull them off and you're like, oh, there's 2 inches left. What am I ever going to do with that? I think this is closer to 4. Is it? Yeah, almost 4 inches. Well, it works perfect for a knot. So let's slide this underneath here and let's tie a little knot. I'm going to tie a looser knot, I think. We'll see. Let's see what my mood is once I get in there and see what it looks like. Yeah, I don't want it too terribly tight. So I'm going to do that. And let's see if we can clean up our ends a little bit here. Nothing too drastic. My scissors are kind of gummy. All right, so that's not too bad. Let's see. And I don't think I want this to go the other direction. Okay. What do you think? I love that. How cute. So anything, you can use it with anything. All right, let's pull in. And I love the extra texture. We'll have to look at both cards together. All right, I'm going to pull in my iridescent foil gems. Do we have enough on that? No. I want to try to use up some of my little bits before I open another. There's some little bit. I've gone through so many packs of these. Let's try to use those bits before we open. I've got one little left. We'll do 2 bigs and a little. How about that? grab my take your pick. All right, who's a take your pick fan? All right, love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. You know, I didn't use it when we first introduced it. I don't know why, but I got to tell you, it's one of my favorites. Use it all the time. Yeah, oh, Teresa, yeah, you prefer the scrub and love dimensionals. Yeah, dimensionals are just the best. I agree. All right, so look at that. So I love the extra stamp texture in there. I think that really like elevates it a little bit. But both are great. And of course, they're in different spots of the print. So this one has a little more balmy blue on it, where this one has a little more blueberry bushel. But I think they're both really, really nice. So you could change the colors. You could do this with any of the prints in this paper pack or any paper pack, right? So I can't wait to see what you guys do with this one. All right, project one, we are done. Can you believe it? We're already finished with our first one. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right. Let me move to project number two, which is this one right here. We're still going to keep making everybody smile, right? So one of the things that I love about being a demonstrator is that I get early access to tools and suites, and we have this wonderful creative community built in, right? It's like the best thing if you've never experienced it. So if you've ever been curious about learning more, there is a current join offer that makes it even sweeter of a deal. I'm happy to chat after today if you have got any questions. All right, card two. Yeah, Judy, I love the take your pick too. All right, card two. We are going to start here with, let me move some things around. I've got a little bit of a mess going on already. So this is 4.5, no, 3.25. No, it's not right. I'm reading the wrong line. I know I am. That doesn't make any sense. Let me measure. I don't want to tell you wrong. 3.75. Yes, this is 3.75 by 5. Whew, we got it. My notes are totally wrong. And then this piece here is 3.5 by 4.75. So this is cut out of the designer paper. Again, you can choose whatever you want to do. I put the darker to the bottom on the original. Let's flip it around. Let's see what we get. See if it looks a little different this time. Just by changing up the print and the direction that we're going to put it in. Cute, 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 cute. All right, so our card base itself, yeah, I love this suite as well. So this is a piece of 8.5 by 5.5 Lost Lagoon cardstock. Now I've scored in on both ends at 2 1/8 of an inch. So I'm just going to fold these in like this. Okay, so they'll meet right in the middle. All right, give that a good burnishing. Okay, now I had this card oriented like this. Should we change it? I think I'm going to rotate it. Why not? I did not plan to do that, but why not? I think it sounds great. All right, and I just realized something I did. No, it should be fine. I think it'll be fine. I can make it work. All right, I am going to adhere this to my card base. So I want to put adhesive. I'm going to do this flat. I'm going to put it at the top edge, and then I'm laying this here for guideline. I'm going to put the second piece of adhesive right here along this edge. And I want to make sure I don't get too close to the outer edges because I don't want it to go past the size of this piece, but I want it nice and secure. So let's see if we can center this right on this layer here. Give that a good push. And that way, no adhesive where I don't want it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, let's bring in our layers. I have got a piece of vellum. So this is, I believe, 3.5 by 1. And then I've got a 3.5 by 1. This is that hues of texture paper. Look at that fabulous texture. I love it. I love it so much. I'm going to tear this. So I like to, now this paper doesn't matter because it's the same on both sides. But if you had a preference of top versus bottom, if you tear your paper towards you, you're going to get all these. Can you guys see all those fibers that show? So if you had a white core paper, white would show. So if you're using designer paper, you would see white. If you were using two-tone cardstock, which I call paper because it's not cardstock weight, my personal opinion, you would see a white layer. If you use our standard cardstock, it's dyed all the way through. So you'd see the texture, but you wouldn't see any other discolors. So, and then the side that I tore up towards me, the other side is, you don't see it as textured. Now, can I flip it over and see it? Why, sure you can, because this one's the same on both sides. But I wanted you to know the difference as you work along. Now, I want to adhere this to my vellum because I want that vellum peeking out. It adds such a great softness without being too feminine, right? Like depending on what you pair it with. We're pairing it with this lovely texture. I'm going to rough up those ends a little bit. I really want those to stand out. Now, I put that down with my Stamp and Seal. You could have put that on with dimensionals if you prefer. Let's add a little bit of ribbon. So I'm just going to lay this out. I want enough for my ends to wrap to the back because we're going to do our cheater ribbon again. Okay. Now my measurement is about 5 inches or so. If you were to measure it out, would work nicely. And I'm going to wrap this and put my ends to the back. Okay, so let's add some adhesive up at the top. And then I'm just going to wrap this to the back. I don't want this to stick out because I want this along the top edge. And I'm going to pull it tight a little bit so it gives a nice appearance. What do you guys think? Do you like that? I think that's really, really pretty. Okay, now let's go ahead and adhere this down. Now, I can put adhesive anywhere that's covered, right? I don't want to put it down here, but I can put as much as I want in this upper section because I've got my layer that's covering it. So that's where you want to place your adhesive. And I'm going to do this, I think. Since we changed the orientation, that might be over a little too far. Let's do that. We're going rogue. I just decided this as we were crafting just a moment ago. I think that'll look really good. Yeah, I love the vellum underneath too. It really adds a nice touch. So many things you can do with the vellum, I think. All right, next. Next, we need a label, a sentiment. So I've pulled in my favorite stylish shapes dies. If you don't have these, I don't understand why. Right? Maybe you have something similar, and that would be why. But everybody needs a good set of shapes that they can use for sentiments, I think. You do your personal choice. But I use that third largest square right there. Everybody has to do their own thing. I know. Use what you like. You could do punches instead of dies. I just like the extra stitch detail that it puts it on there. All right, we are pulling in Pretty Peacock ink. And let's see if I can get my smile back here. All right. So you guys gonna make these projects? I hope that you do and share them using your stuff, your crafty stuff. Nice. Happy with that. Let me clean my stamp again. I might have to spray it again. No. Oh yeah, I do. So again, spritz it. Then I'm going to wash and dry. And now it's clean, ready for my next color, which is great. All right, put this away. Oh, good. You're going to make these? Yay. So I can't wait to see if you use the same products or different products. All right, so I'm going to put my sentiment on. I think there looks nice. Should we go down a little? I think maybe I'll go down a little bit. All right, I'm going to pop this bad boy up as well because I want to. Again, you guys know you don't have to do that. And I'm going to use 4. I'm going to use a dimensional on every corner. Do you need 4? Probably not. Probably not, but this way it'll be nice and stable. I'm not going to have any issues with shifting. Okay, so again, I like to cross my layers. So I'm going to put it down towards the bottom. And I'm kind of, I don't think there's a right or wrong. I'm kind of looking at the spacing here and the spacing that I've gone beyond the vellum there, and they're similar. Maybe you could look at the spacing there, make that similar. It's up to you. I think either is fine. All right, now I'm going to go a little excessive on my dimensionals here. And let's see. Let's see. We definitely want some big ones on here. So let's put one there. See if I can get one off of here, and let's put one up here. I think I want some littles. Let's grab some littles off of this. A little cheat sheet here. And let's sprinkle one right there. We will put one right. Whoops. All right, it's not cooperating. My putty came off and stuck to the back. All right, let's see if we can get some of that off. There we go. Do you guys have those days where crafting goes really well and then other days where crafting does not go so well? Like I've had times where I'm like, I need to just put it away because it's not going well. Let's see, where do we want this one? I'm kind of going excessive. I'm gonna go right there. Had to make a decision. Oh, good. So you're taking notes. Perfect. 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 Yeah, I can't wait to see your versions. All right. Cute, right? Do you like it this orientation or this orientation? We have to do the inside. No naked insides. Goodness gracious. All right. So let's put this on the inside. So I've got a leftover piece of designer series paper. So when I was cutting my layers, I had a little strip here. And since my measurements were not quite right, so 4 by 1 1/4 by 4, okay, or 4 by 1 1/4, whichever orientation you're going, right? And then I've got another piece of vanilla here. Again, I've chosen not to add a sentiment to this, but you could if you wanted to. And this piece is 4 1/2 by 3 1/4. Okay, so let's go ahead and get these down. I like when I have these wider pattern paper strips to be able to put them underneath the layer, make a smaller layer and have a little more peeking out. You could do multiple strips would be nice. I love it. Let's see, centered more or less. Cute. And again, I could stamp something in there if I wanted to. So you can see it oriented both ways. Cute. Hopefully I'm in the window. I like it. I love it, love it, love it. This is my favorite print, I think, in the paper pack. I love the variety. Oh, you like the horizontal. Nice. Okay. Glad I changed it. That was a last minute decision. All right, we are on to our third project. Let me go ahead and tell you about our order special today. Um, as a thank you, I have a little special. And so I have a special for my US friends as well as my international friends because I can't ship Stampin' Up! Product outside of the US. Can't sell it, can't ship it. So if you are in the US and you place a $35 or greater order with me in my online store by Monday, March 2nd, you're going to get, of course, a handmade card in the mail from me. But you'll also get the PDF tutorial for all the projects we're creating today. So I'm telling you what you need to know, but we like a printable sometimes. So you would get the printable. If your order increases up to $50 or greater, you're also going to get the pre-cut kit. So I will cut it, put it in here. Everything's going to be in there for you, all your cardstock, but please know that the Nature's Symphony die cuts won't be pre-cut for you. I do that so that you can use what you have at home, and you can still have the paper you need to create with it. So that's why I've got it that way. You would also get our February Nature Walk All-Star Video Class Tutorial Bundle as a gift. So that is a collaboration I do with 11 other global demonstrators, and the projects are fantastic. So it's all using products in this Nature Walk suite. And so you'd have 12 additional fantastic ideas with that. Now, step it up one more time. If your order reaches $75 or greater, you're also going to get this month's Product of the Month bonus tutorial. So I have been working on that with another group of collaborators. I'm going to show you alternates of each of these projects after we're done with this third project, made in the paper, which is the Painted Illusions Designer Series paper, which is part of our product of the month program for February. So you can get the product of the month for just $5 once your order hits that $75 value. So it's a steal of a deal, really. So a couple reminders that when you place your orders, when your orders are at least $20, you're going to automatically get 10% back in Stampin' Rewards. That's the new Stampin' Up program. No host codes are needed. And then remember that if you earned bonus days coupons in January, you have until the end of February, which is tomorrow, right? Is it tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow's the last day of February. So tomorrow's the last day to redeem those bonus days coupons. But remember when you redeem those on your order for this event, that it does reduce the total. So just keep that in mind. Now, for my global friends, we don't want to have you miss out either. So when you shop in my tutorial store and spend $35 or greater, you're also going to get our class tutorial for today. When your order is $50 or greater, I'll actually add in that all-star class tutorial as well. So don't choose that one if you're going to spend $50 when you're shopping in my tutorial store. And then, of course, if your order goes to 75, I'll also include that product of the month bonus tutorial. And again, that expires on Monday. That's our last day uh, to take advantage of that. All right, let's do this project next here. All right, so I did this one with a Mossy Meadow card base. And so this is 5.5 by 8.5. Lois, check your junk mail if you're not seeing your coupons. The subject line is bonus, does have bonus days coupons in it. You can try calling Stampin' Up, but they've made it pretty clear that if you didn't save your coupons, that there's nothing they can do to help you. But it doesn't hurt to try, right? If for some reason you didn't get it. All right, now I've got a piece of the designer series paper. I love the painted look of these. This one is 5.25 by 4, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down. The other side's fun as well. Okay, place that right down there. All right, now my next layer is a piece of embossed vellum. Let's talk about this. I don't know if you've ever embossed vellum before. So I've used the Birch 3D embossing folder. Love it. Lots of great texture. And I've embossed this vellum. Now, if you've ever embossed vellum before, you will know that sometimes, depending on the folder and your machine, I mean, every machine is a little bit different, but it is super easy to cut through vellum, especially with our 3D folders. But when you put it through, if you put it between some computer paper, this is just some scrap paper I have. So my vellum's inside there. Do this, go run this through your folder. You are going to get the best results with your vellum. So if you haven't tried that and you're having trouble with vellum tearing when you emboss, definitely check that out because it might be exactly what you needed. Okay. All right. Now we're not going to put that down yet. We're just going to lay that down for placement because remember, we have to be really careful where our adhesive goes. So next I've got this lovely leafy element that I've die cut out of the designer paper. Oh, I didn't tell you the size of the vellum. The vellum is 5 by 3 3/4 was the size that I did on that one. You could do any size, but that's the one I did. All right, so there's my fabulous leafy element. It's my favorite. I love it. I love that it's big. I love that the designer paper has the variation in it. It's funny because I look at this designer paper print and it's not my favorite, but it is my my favorite when cutting this leaf out. So I am going to take this and let's go ahead and put some liquid glue on the back of this. I'm getting a little excessive with my liquid glue here. Liquid glue and I don't always get along, as many of you may know. I'm going to take this and I'm going to set it aside. So I got to put it way up here. Otherwise my arm will go right into it. You guys have the same problem? I don't know how many times I've looked down and I had things stuck to my sleeve. All right, let's work on our sentiment layer next. Okay, so I have a piece of 2 1/8 by 1 3/8 basic beige cardstock. Then I've got a piece of crumb cake that I have die cut out of that small or second smallest rectangle in the perennial postage dies. Okay. Now, in our Nature Symphony dies, we have some super cool texture elements that actually don't cut out a shape. So this one right here has a little hash type marking and then these dots. I'm going to use this little hash marking here. I'm going to put this right here on this. Let's grab our mini Stampin' Emboss cut machine. Slide some things out of the way so we don't end up covered in glue, which could easily happen to me. And I don't like to follow directions. So on your plates, it says to use plate 1 and 2 of plate 2 when die cutting. I actually changed that second plate to plate 4. And the reason I do that is it's slightly thinner. And so if you've ever noticed when using your mini, if you have all these equal at the end, sometimes it won't slide through. So you have to offset the ends. When I use plate 4, I don't have to offset the ends. So it's a personal preference. It does not work with really detailed dies, but dies that are a little more open, like outline dies or these texture dies, it works great. So I'm gonna put that all in. I'm gonna slide this in here. Let's crank it through. And I don't know about you, but every time I use the mini Stampin' Cut in the Boss, not when I use the big one, but when I use the mini one, I have to make the sound of the Jack in the Box. You know what I'm talking about? When I was little, you guys do that? I know I'm weird, but it's okay. All right. So then it adds that cute texture in there. I think that adds just a nice element. Nice element. Oh, no, I don't have to attach it. So I'm using, it depends on what glue you use, right? So the Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue dries tacky, so it's still sticky. So if I let this completely dry, I will still be able to attach it because it dries sticky. So it depends on what glue you're using. So some dry completely dry and some dry tacky. So it depends on what you've got. I hope that helps. All right, let's bring in our Mossy Meadow ink pad. And I did pull in a secondary sentiment. I like you lots. Of course I do. And I'm going to stamp this right over the top. Now, could I have stamped it and then added that texture? Why, sure. But this stamp's fine right over the texture, so I didn't have to do that. Nice. All right, now let's build this fun little element here. Now I want to take about, let's see, 7 inches or so of ribbon. Let's see if we can measure that out. Okay. And I am going to wrap it around this layer. So I am going to go ahead. Let's grab our silicone craft sheet because I'm gonna get sticky here. I'm gonna go ahead and put some adhesive on the back just to kind of tack my ribbon in place for me. Okay. That might be good. Let's see. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And I'm just gonna wrap it across the front. So let's go ahead and add a little bit of adhesive on the front just to tack it down so it doesn't go rogue on me. I'm not gonna pull it too tight because I kind of am okay if that little bit hangs out. Cute. I love that. Now, I want to take this and I have got some linen thread. About 11 inches is what I've got. And I'm going to tie this together, these ends together with my linen thread. Hopefully I'm in camera. Okay. Oh, my arthritis is acting up today. All right. So I'm just going to tie that. I'm going to tighten that a little bit. And then now I can tie my bow. Now, if you find that this is loosening too much for you, you can also use your tweezers to help you hold that if you need to. So your reverse tweezers, you can always put in there and grab that ribbon for you. Okay, so I like that. I think my element looks really kind of cool on there. Let's see if I can trim. I don't want to trim my linen thread. I like the wonkiness of it. But let's see if I can trim these ends a little bit. Maybe I'll do them together. Yeah, that actually worked really nicely. And then we will pull them apart. There we go. I really like that. I think that's cute. Now I'm going to add this over the top. What do you think? I love it. I love the texture. I love the detail. I love the subtle color difference. All good stuff. And I'm going to pop mine up because I've got that ribbon underneath and I just like it. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. What are you guys thinking? Do you like this? Have you done this before? All right, great. All right. Now, this will have dried enough that I can attach my leaves. So let's grab this element here, maybe. And I'm going to lay this down. It can come off the edge of the layer a little bit, but I need to be careful that it doesn't go too crazy. So let's just kind of lay it back on top of here. Just for placement. Yeah, I'm good. So I'm happy. So I'm just going to push these down, get that glue to stick to the front. See? And so I can see my glue on the back, but I'm good, right? All right, now I'm going to lay this down on the layer as well. Cute. So you can use Stamp and Seal. You can use liquid glue. I'm going to use Stamp and Seal. I know some people don't like to once they put dimensionals on the layers, but you do you. I don't mind. And I'm looking at these two sides and I'm going to lay this down. Give that a good push. I love it. It's so cute. All right, so this now tells me where I can place my adhesive to adhere my vellum down, right? But wait a minute. Before we do further, let's add our embellishments as well. And the reason I say to do that is because you can strategically place your embellishments where you need adhesive. So maybe it bothers you if this whole side doesn't have any glue to hold it down. So you could place adhesives, or I'm sorry, embellishments wherever you want that adhesive. So you could put a couple of them over there if you wanted to. How about I'll change it up from what I did originally. We'll put one there. Let's go ahead and, yeah, it's being futzy with me. I'm going to put one maybe over here. And then instead of putting another one up here, maybe I'll put another one over there. I'll put a small one just so we can talk about and really see the adhesive placement difference. All right, I don't know why it keeps doing that. There's something I'm doing. I can tell you that. All right, so now I've got additional opportunities with my embellishments for adhesive placement. Like it? Oh, good. You guys like it? All right, so I'm going to put some glue behind my leaves because they're covered. I can do this whole rectangle here, a little bit here, a little bit here. I'm going to let this dry for a minute. Put a dot here, because my embellishments are going to cover that. So let that dry for just a minute so I can avoid my glue ooze. And let's do the inside. Now on this one, I did choose to stamp the sentiment. So I've got my wider designer paper and then my small layer here. So the designer paper on this one la, 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 is 2x4. And then this piece is 4.5 by 3 1/4. I think I didn't miss them on you. Hopefully. All right, so let's get these down. Let's get our designer paper down. Now, part of the join special that's going on this month is that you would get our brand new stamp positioning tool that's actually not released yet, and they haven't even told us when the release date is going to be. Demonstrators did get the opportunity, which is one of my favorite things about being a demonstrator, did get the opportunity. We had a very short window that we could pre-order it to try it out, but we can't now. Like once the promotion started, we were no longer allowed to order it. But you can get it for free when you join my Diamonds team this month. If anyone is interested in seeing a little bit about how it works, I will stay on after the workshop for a little bit for anyone that wants to see it. If you don't, I'm not going to stay. and I don't want to take up everyone's time, but if there is anyone that wants to see it, just leave a note in the comments here and I'll stay on as we wrap up. All right, so there's my inside. Brought my texture inside, which I think elevates this so much. I mean, the designer paper adds a cool touch. I have a colored layer. It's basic beige instead of white or vanilla, just to change it up a little bit, right? It's a great neutral. I can still write on it. Any light colored cardstock would work, right? Oh, yeah. Always, this is pieces that I had left over, right? We end up with all these little bits. Why not bring them to the inside? I think it's a great way to do it. All right, we are ready to finish this off by adhering our vellum layer down. So I need to be careful because I don't want to slide it after I place it, right? Because my adhesive can show through. So I want to carefully lay this down. I'm going to give it some pushing where I know my adhesive is. And look at that. I have a beautiful project with no glue showing through because I covered it. Love it? Now we could have changed the orientation of that one as well. Let me bring them all back in so you can see them. You guys have to tell me which one is your favorite. Or do you love them all equally? Yeah? Good, good, good. I love it. I love it. I love it. I really appreciate you guys spending this creative time with me. The replay will stay available here in the Facebook group until Facebook deletes it. Facebook deletes them after 30 days. I will, however, upload it to YouTube, which will be there forever, right? Well, until YouTube decides to start deleting things. Remember, we've got our workshop order special that's going to run through Monday. And whether you place an order or simply just enjoyed the inspiration, I'm just glad to have you here as part of my community. Okay. All right, let's go back to this. I apologize. All right, so the first one was this one. This is my alternate that I created using the Painted Illusions. So see, you can use any products you have, right? The layouts are perfect. This is a white card base with a balmy blue layer. The Painted Illusions designer paper. I chose to keep the same vellum accent, same punch, but I chose to switch the stamp set to the, I think it's called Boho Vibes, the rainbow one. And then I've got this balmy blue gingham ribbon, and then I brought the same type of stamping on the inside that I did on this one. So that was my first one. Okay. I'm so sorry I forgot to do that. I'm glad I saw that somebody said that. All right, this was our second card. So this was my version with Painted Illusions. So I kept the Lost Lagoon card base, changed my vanilla to white, had my designer paper. I've got my vellum and then some granny apple green. So we're going a little more vibrant with this. And then this is some cloud cover, really wide ribbon, adds great texture. And then our same square that we've cut, changing the, again, the stamp set to that boho vibes, and then brought the design to the inside as well. This is a fun piece because it variegates in color, kind of like this one did as well. All right, last but not least. So this was our workshop card. I guess I should do them side by side. And then the boho, or the Painted Illusions is this one. So I did a Daffodil Delight card base, my Painted Illusions designer paper, and in my vellum layer, I used that dotted circles embossing folder. It's a pretty bold folder and does a lot of great texture. And then I used the designer paper, again, the Painted Illusions designer paper, another print, and cut out the solid rainbow image. Added a little bit of ribbon and some die cut pieces here to get the little high, some little gems, and then of course brought the design to the inside the same. So completely different vibes, right? But same layouts. Yes, love them? I hope so. I love them too. I think they're just fun. So all good stuff. So I can't wait to see your versions. Thank you for reminding me to do that. Okay, for anybody that wants to know more about the stamp positioner tool. So this is what comes together. So you've got, let me pull it all apart. The grid paper doesn't come with it. So it comes with the stamp positioning tool. It's got the base, two plates, and 2 magnets. And these are those rare earth magnets that are super, super strong. But the cool updates that Stampin' Up! Made these, I love. So they're little discs and they come in this little package here. So you would see people adding washi tape to them to be able to get them up really easy. But these are still super strong and they have this lovely tab. And if you place them so that the tab is slightly angled up, they're easy to grab. Woo! And when they snap together, they don't break. And I can still pull them apart, which I think is awesome. We have grid paper. It's sold separately and it has these lovely holes that line up to these little nubbins here. Okay. And you've got the grid paper's two-sided. So you've got imperial and metric. So you can use whichever side you want. I use both, whether I'm going to use it for measurements or not. But this just, you just run it right along here. It's going to go into those nubbins and stay in place, right? So it's not going to fall off, which I love. I love it. I love it. I love it. Now your 2 plates. This is a great big base plate. There are these pop-up corners here and a hole, so you can just lay it right on top, and then this pops as well, okay? So when you lay this down and you have your stamp on the back, your stamp doesn't touch until you push down and stamp. So we'll do that in a minute. I just wanted to talk to you about the plate first. Then you've got this skinny plate here, and this has holes. I always mess this up. The holes are right up here on the end, if you can see that, and they can go on these pegs. So you can move them and do fun techniques, right? Do a row of something, which is kind of fun, by just sliding this down. Again, they are set so that when your stamp is on here, it's not going to touch your paper. So then you can just push down, right? Makes that super easy, super, super easy. So let's try this with one of our stamps. Why not? Did I prepare that? I did not, but let's do it anyway. Let's see what it does. Let's grab out of our Nature's Symphony. So I don't know if you guys do this. So this new packaging, I'm still trying to get used to. I'm a creature of habit, so I like the old packaging, but I will get used to this. I mean, this is what it is, right? So I've got my Nature's Symphony. I do love that this is nice and big. And I stamp on a piece of paper and glue it on the inside, and I adhere my plastic, I guess you could say, to the insert because I lose them. As soon as I take the stamps off, I lose them. So this makes sure I have all my images and all this. Now, can you tell that I love this image and I've used it a lot? Photopolymer does stain, right? When you use it in dark colors, and I have used it in some Pretty Peacock ink a lot and some other dark colors a lot. So you can see that it's a little stained, and that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. People have said, oh, you can put Versamark on it first and then it won't stain as bad. I don't care. It's not important to me. So I'm okay that it's stained, whatever, right? So let me grab a piece of cardstock. Right. So you have a couple ways that you can line up your papers, right? You can use the grid. I would butt it up against these pegs, but that's entirely up to you. You don't have to. There is a corner, and it's hard to see, I think, unless you're live. There is a corner. You can kind of see it right there. And this is intended to be able to put your paper right in here in this corner and stay in place. The cool thing about this is when you do this, you know how we would do, I'm going to call it stamping in the round or a kaleidoscope type thing. You could place your plate down so that you stamped in this corner, right? And then you could rotate and stamp in the next corner, rotate, stamp in the next corner, rotate, stamp in the next corner. So you'd have a nice 4-corner design, which I think is really, really nice. For this purpose, I'm going to lay this, I'm going to butt it up against, I'm going to lay it at my 2-inch mark. I'll forget that in like 5 seconds. I'm going to take my stamp, and this might stick. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We're on the fly here. I'm going to lay this down. I think that's where I want my image to be stamped, right there. Get that where I want it. I'm going to put my magnets on to kind of hopefully hold, and I know that it's not going to interfere with my stamp because I've already got it laid down. I'm going to lay my plate down on top of this, and I'm going to push down and hopefully grab my stamp without my paper. But if not, we can put the paper back. Okay. We got it. So it's on the plate. I'm going to put my paper back. Now, will I have the magnets in the right place? Maybe not. But my stamp is still super sticky. So that's okay. All right, we're going to lay that down. Let's see what we got here placement wise. Okay, we're going to be okay with the magnets. So let's take this. Let's ink this bad boy up. So I'm going to take my ink pad right to my stamp. Make sure I got it nice and inky. And just use a Mossy Meadow. I'm going to lay this down on those pegs. Oh, I'm going to get ink all over that magnet because I made a mess with my ink pad. I'm messy. All right, so again, my stamp is not touching the surface of my paper. And now I can just push down. Now I have this little, I know it looks like an air hockey puck that my friend Bruni gave me years ago, and I use it with my stamp positioning tools. So I'm going to use this, but you don't really have to. You can just push down. I'm going to use this because it's a nice big image. And then I can lift up and I've got my beautiful stamped piece. Now, if I'm making multiple cards, this is awesome. Just awesome. Yes, so you would use a positioner. Great question, actually, Edith. A stamp positioning tool is great for anybody that is struggling with stamping, right? So I know people that don't do well with the blocks because they rock and then they catch the edge. Now with photopolymer, we don't catch edges like we do with red rubber, but if you've got red rubber in your stash, you know how easy it is to catch an edge. So I don't typically catch an edge with photopolymer, but red rubber I definitely do. And this will work with red rubber as well. But if you're a rocker, this will help you with that, right? Getting a good image. The other thing is, what if I'm not happy about that little spot on that leaf right there? I can re-ink this, right? Once it's on my tool, I can re-ink this and stamp it again, and it's going to stamp in the same place, right? So now, where I didn't have good coverage, I do now. So that's a second reason to use it. The third reason I like a stamp positioning tool is if I'm making multiples, this makes it fast for me, right? Because I can stamp, pull this out, put in my new one, stamp, pull this out, put in my new one, and I'm going to get it in the same place every single time. So if that's important to you, that is helpful. Make sense? I hope that answered your question. Now, I will tell you, I don't use my stamp positioning tool all the time, but that's a personal preference. But I do have it in my stash, and it is something that is important to me in my stash. It just depends on when I feel I need it. Make sense? So I'm not going to get into all the different techniques you can do. There's lots of fun things you can do, but I wanted you guys to get a feel for what this is and make sure that you were aware that this is currently free when you join my Diamonds demonstrator team. It will, the special ends March 2nd, same day as our order special for this workshop class. All right. Questions from anyone? I will make sure, oh good, that did answer you. I will make sure I go back to the comments and make sure that I've answered all the questions that came up because you guys are too fast. I can't keep up. So, all right. Thank you again for joining me. I loved our time together and I hope to see you guys again next month. All right. Bye for now.